I'm Jacob Seelman.
And I'm Tom Baker.
You're listening to Speed 77 Radio,
powered by Race Chaser Online.
We are your home for motorsports.
Race fans, good evening and welcome to tonight's Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports show on location from the Office Tavern here in sunny Oswego, New York. I'm Jacob Seelman, the voice of Speed 77 Radio, and sitting across the round table, a real table tonight, with my colleague Tom Baker at the round table. Tom, I tell you, we're good at talking and we've got a lot to talk about tonight. I'm excited. There's a lot of racing this weekend. Let's start talking.
Let's do that. And if you want to know why we are here, the reason that we're in Oswego here this weekend is because the Oswego Speedway hosting their annual Old Timers reunion. Of course, you and I, Jacob, will be co-emceeing that. And along with that, of course, a big night of racing on Saturday night, the annual King of Wings event for the Super Modifieds, the Wings Super Modifieds. And, of course, the Pathfinder Bank SBS division, the Small Block Super Modifieds in action as well. We've got Camden Crowd sitting with us, and we're going to be talking with Cam here in just a little bit about his first season of SBS racing. So a lot to cover, plus, of course, all kinds of fendered stuff from NASCAR right on down. So let's start with Loudon, New Hampshire, shall we? There's a couple of big races going on there here this weekend, I would say.
Yeah, there's definitely a couple of big races going on this weekend. I think one of the biggest of all, the renewal of the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour at the Loudon Magic Mile this weekend. And the Whelen Modified Tour, some drivers going to get two chances this weekend to rock and roll around the Magic Mile, because NASCAR adding this weekend the Whelen All-Star Shootout in addition to the Sunoco 100 points race for the Whelen Modified Tour, pitting the best of the North against a couple of Southern invaders in the All-Star event. No points, just pride and some bonus money on the line for some of the champions and all-time winners of the series. And both North and South going to be looking home to take the first event of that caliber. Tom, I'll tell you, it's been a long time since we've had a non-points modified race, but there's a lot of guys, especially one that we talked to, that are really psyched about this event that's going to be happening tomorrow evening immediately following Sprint Cup qualifying. 40 laps split into two 20-lap segments, and boy, if you can bank some cash and ultimately bank the checkered flag, you've done something special.
Well, All-Star race is 40 laps, you just said, right? To split into two 20-lap segments. Now, think about that, if you will. We're going to take a bunch of modified racers that are used to running on bull ring short tracks from a quarter mile to maybe 3/8 of a mile, and we're going to put them on a mile track, and we're going to give them 40 laps to go from back to the front and collect a big wad of cash. I smell lots of competition and passing coming on, and maybe just a few bent front bumpers in the aftermath of that one. How about you?
Oh, trust me, I smell a few bent front bumpers, especially at the end of this one. And when you consider the caliber of drivers, we've got champions. Ryan Preece, who we'll hear from in a minute, Mike Stefanik, Teddy Christopher. You've got Andy Seiss coming up from the South, who leads the Southern Championship, looking for his first ever Whelen Southern Modified Tour title. You've got old names coming back to play. Glenn Reen, one of the veterans, coming back to play in this weekend's All-Star event. And then a lot of them going to stick around for Saturday afternoon's renewal of the Sunoco 100 for the points. And, you know, there's one guy we haven't mentioned, and he's running on Sunday, Ryan Newman.
Well, at any time Ryan Newman's in the modified, it gets a lot more interesting even than without him. And Ryan puts on a great show, and 40 laps is going to be the recipe for a whole lot of charging. There is no sitting back and waiting for the race to come to you. It is going to make for some wild open-wheel modified racing. I think that's going to be an outstanding way to start the weekend for those guys, and I just hope that they all either have a second car for the next day or realize that there are two races, and we kind of have limits here. But, no, that should be a great race, and I can't wait to see how this first annual All-Star race turns out.
And that's going to be televised on July 20th on Fox Sports 1 for anybody that wants to tune in for that. And you can check the programming guide as it gets a little bit closer for the specifics on exactly when that episode will air on the 20th. But I'll tell you, Tom, one of the guys we talked to, Ryan Preece, earlier this week, he's really excited about this modified weekend, and for more than one reason. Not only is he getting to run the Whelen Modified Tour twice, he also is stepping into Tommy Baldwin's NASCAR Nationwide Series ride and taking the number 36 Chevrolet for a spin on Saturday in the Stay Green 200. So Ryan Preece, NASCAR Next, defending Whelen Modified Tour champion. This is a driver who has done a lot over the last 2 years, and boy, when he gets to going talking, you're in for a treat. And race fans, we got a chance to talk with him earlier this week, and the enthusiasm is boundless. So sit back and listen. Ryan Preece on the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour and NASCAR Nationwide Series at Loudon. Ryan, glad to welcome you back to the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports show, and you've had a lot of good things to talk about this season. A little bit of struggles on the tour, not getting to victory lane quite yet, but I know you guys have been working hard at Flamingo Motorsports to get back there, and definitely looking forward to New Hampshire this weekend, one of the biggest races for you guys. Are you guys looking to get on the board this weekend at Loudon? I know for you guys, this race is like the Modifieds Daytona 500. It's one of the biggest of the year, and you've had a lot of success at Loudon over the years.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited to get up there, not only just because the modified's there, but also because it'll be my first nationwide start of this year, and with Tommy Baldwin racing, so it's going to be a lot of fun, and I know we have a good car for the modifieds because we tested up there a few weeks back, and it should be one heck of a show, and Loudon's kind of been a love-hate relationship for me. It seems like, sometimes when I'm having a good run, a motor will blow up or some sort of thing like that. And, other times I'll be dueling for the win and just, not really be in the right position on that last lap. And it's a track and a modified, at least you have to be really aggressive and you kind of have to defend, but at the same, you have to be on the offense. And I think, that's where experience and all that's going to come into play. And, lately we kind of haven't had the luck we've needed, and I think we're definitely going to have a good car, and we'll see what we can do this weekend with this East-West Marine, Flamingo Motorsports, JRI Shock, everybody involved with that whole team, and see if we can get us a win.
What kind of variables does Loudon provide? Because even though it's a mile track, it's the biggest track that the modifieds race on, and you guys, because of the way those cars are built, are able to utilize the draft down these straightaways. What kind of differences does that provide in a race like this compared to a lot of these other bull rings that we know you are so accustomed to?
For me, it's a love-hate thing just because, it's great if you're the guy running third or whatever, and you need that little bit to catch them. But if you're the guy leading and you have a really good handling car, if the other guy has a good motor, he's able to pull up right on you and pass you, and it makes it hard to really get away from somebody. So your car has to be really good to break out of the draft. But I think it's going to be a lot of fun. The guys that'll be racing up front, we all know how to respect one another. The more lead changes, the better the race will be, and I'm sure it's going to be a good one for TV.
This weekend, I know, too, not just the 100-mile race on Saturday, but you guys also have the Whelen All-Star Shootout on Friday, the 40-lap All-Star event for former champions, Rookies of the Year, and winners. What kind of feel is that for you going into an event like that this weekend? Because it's no points, just a little bit of showing off, a lot of pride on the line. What do you go into this weekend looking at that event like compared to a normal points race?
It's a great situation just because, it's all the former champions and I guess former Rookie of the Years and past winners. But, it's more money to be won, and to be going to races where we're back on Friday, and it's a practice. It's another practice for us, and usually when you're practicing, a lot of teams don't like to really get in those big car, 9, 10 car drafts where the air gets real thin and the cars move around a lot, and that All-Star race is gonna really, I think, help us determine what we're gonna need for what we need in our car for Saturday. So I'm looking forward to it, and NASCAR has it set up right now, or New Hampshire, for how you can win some bonus money. Usually how we have fast qualifying on Saturday before the race, they're going to give, I believe it's $1,000 to whoever has the fastest lap during the event in the All-Star race. And also whoever gains the most positions, there's also a Move of the Race award. So there's a lot of money to be won in that race. I think if you win the race, you win, the fastest lap, and you win the Move of the Race, I think you can win up to $6,000 just for that 40-lap shootout. So it's a lot of fun, and I can't thank New Hampshire and NASCAR and Whelen for helping get this event going and hopefully making it a tradition.
And I know that's something that all of us are really looking forward to. And I know something else you're looking forward to is, of course, this nationwide start that you've got on the docket this weekend with Tommy Baldwin Racing. And excited for that because it's really a New England conglomeration here. You being from up there, Tommy Baldwin, your team owner for the weekend, being from New England, and you getting back behind the wheel of one of the full-size stock cars at the national level, I know, is a big move for you. What are you anticipating going into this weekend on the nationwide side, and is it going to be a bigger adjustment for you?
No, I'm actually, I'm really excited just because last year I got my feet wet in it, and, Zach McGowan, who's going to be crew chief in the car this weekend for me, is, he's really excited, and we're really going with the guns loaded. We're gonna try and, have a good run up there, and it's gonna be a lot of fun, and I definitely have a lot of faith in these guys, and Tommy, he has a lot of faith in me, so he's always texting me and asked me how I'm doing, and he made it out to Riverhead. Actually, funny story. He made it out to Riverhead a couple weeks back, and I was a little free in my race car. And he says to me, 2 more rounds of rear brake. That's all you needed. You would have won that race. And I looked down. I was like, okay, bud. So whenever he texts me from now on, I just kind of joke with him and say, all I need is 2 more rounds of rear brake. So it's a lot of fun. He's a good guy. He's a great guy.
And I can just hear the enthusiasm for you going into this weekend. 3 really big races for you, and I know you're just looking to get on the board with a win on the tour side. And to win at Loudon, we know, is big. And I know you don't want to talk about the fact that it's frustrating that you haven't been to Victory Lane this year to defend your championship, but I want to look at it from a different way. What do you do to get yourself into the mindset this weekend of forgetting about the struggles you've had the first part of the year and just going in this weekend to Loudon, really, I don't want to say going for broke, but with that attitude of we're going in to win this race?
Well, it's definitely not a lack of trying. I mean, everybody on my team and, my owner, my crew chief, and my team, we all have the same goal, and that's trying to win races. And sometimes we can't win them all, but we sure as heck try. And New Hampshire, like I said, we unloaded a couple weeks back. We were real good. We tried some things, and we made the car better. And I think New Hampshire is going to see a lot of speed out of the modifieds this year, just because without the draft, when we were up there testing, we were about a second quicker than what we usually have been. So I'm looking forward to this weekend and possibly trying to get back to Victory Lane. I've never been to Victory Lane at New Hampshire, but I've definitely fought for it. So, I'm that much more hungry to win a race and see if we can pull it off.
And I know you can't pull it off this weekend without a lot of people, supporters, sponsors behind you. I want to give you a chance to shout out to them. Who makes it happen for Ryan Preece?
A lot of people. Might want to take a minute to take a breath. But right now, Flamingo Motorsports there at Sanderson, who gives us everything we need to do. East West Marine, R&B Enterprises, Diversified Metals, Racing Electronics, FK Roddens, Gola Racing Lines, just everybody involved. There's just so many different people that help us get to the racetrack and put tires on the race car, fuel in the race car, everything it needs. Great horsepower, Bob Bruno Racing Engines, Sophie's Rest, and everybody else involved. I can't thank them enough, and see if we can see you all in Victory Lane.
And I know we're looking forward to it, Ryan. Want to wish you the best of luck going into all three of the races this weekend, the All-Star Shootout, the Sunoco 100 on Saturday, as well as the NASCAR Nationwide Series event Saturday. And look forward to hopefully talking to you here relatively soon and get you in victory lane on the tour side. I know you guys are working really hard to get there, and look forward to talking to you soon.
Yeah, hopefully so, and it'll be a fun conversation if I can get there.
It will be a fun conversation if he can get there, and we wish Ryan all the best as he gets set to tackle the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour and the NASCAR Nationwide Series this weekend at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway, and he'll be driving that famous number 16 Eric Sanderson-owned Flamingo Motorsports machine as he searches for his 10th career win and first of 2014. We're going to take a break here on the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show. If you're in the area in Oswego, New York, stop by here tonight. Come and see us at the Office Tavern, grab some dinner, hang out, and we've got Camden Proud with us here. He'll sign some autographs. We'll be talking to him here in just a little bit. But first, we're going to take care of some business, so we'll be back right after these words. You are listening to Speed 77 Radio and Race Chaser Online. We'll be right back.
For 17 years, Stock Car Steel has been a leading materials supplier to the racing industry. We're proud they're a motorsports content partner here at Race Chaser Online. The biggest names in NASCAR trust Stock Car Steel for raw materials such as carbon steel, chrome moly, DOM, aluminum, plastics, and much more. You can't build a race car without the basic materials, and Stock Car Steel is the place to get them. Don't forget to also visit Stock Car Steel's sister company, SRI Supplies, for racing and industry. SRI is the place to go for all your shop supply needs. Nuts, bolts, rivets, tapes, adhesives, cutting tools, chemicals, body shop supplies, paint shop supplies, lubricants, and more. A well-stocked race shop is a winning race shop, and the path to winning begins with 3 letters, SRI. For more information, visit stockcarsteel.com or SRI-supplies.com. Check them both out on Facebook or call them toll-free at 1-888-752-7272, 1-888-752-7272.
The odds of a young girl being discovered by an industry insider while singing to herself pumping gas? 1 in 300 million. The odds of the daughter of a clergyman from Severn, Maryland spending 11 weeks at number 1 on the U.S. singles charts? 1 in 19 million. The odds of going on to win 6 Grammy Awards? 1 in 1.4 million. The odds of selling over 40 million records? 1 in 800,000. The odds of this musician and performer having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 110. I'm Toni Braxton, and I encourage you to learn the signs of autism at autismspeaks.org. Early diagnosis can make a lifetime of difference. Autism Speaks. It's time to listen. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
I'm Jacob Seelman.
And I'm Tom Baker,
You're listening to Speed 77 Radio.
powered by Race Chaser Online.
We are your home for motorsports.
Welcome back to the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show, here live tonight at the Office Tavern in Oswego, New York. Jacob Seelman and Tom Baker around tonight's round table as we get set to continue on in what is the fastest hour in motorsports, and maybe a little bit more than an hour tonight. We've got a lot to talk about, Tom, and it seems like as we go into this weekend, the K&M Pro Series East going to be at Loudon, and we've been talking about one guy, 2 words, all season, Ben Rhodes.
And guess who we're talking about again tonight? Ben Rhodes. Why? Because not only did he qualify on the pole for the K&N Pro Series East race at Loudon, but he broke the track record in doing it. I guess if you're going to sit on the pole, it's always good to break the track record. It's a little bit of insurance that hopefully nobody will go faster than you. And Ben just continues to get more and more and more confident and be more and more impressive as he goes.
Yeah, he does. It's incredible what he's done this season. This weekend, this is the stat boy coming back on you again. Ben looking for his 5th straight victory. That would tie Ricky Craven for most all-time on K&M Pro Series East history. He's looking for his 6th win total of the season. That would tie his teammate Dylan Kwasniewski for most wins in a season. He is also looking for his 6th career K&M Pro Series East victory. Gee, wouldn't you know it? He scored all of those career wins this season. Nice time to break out.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, we've talked for weeks on our shows about the magic season that Ben is having, and sometimes the momentum shifts and it's in your favor, and you just can't do anything wrong. It just seems to all fall into place, and it isn't as if Ben has a ton of experience on mile tracks. He really doesn't, but it just goes to show you how much of a zone he's in right now to be able to go to Loudon and do what he did today. It's definitely going to be a very interesting race, though. I don't see Ben Rhodes dominating the event by any means once it starts, because this is the kind of track, I think, where the K&M Pro Series East Division, you're going to see drivers racing and swapping spots. I mean, I don't see this being a race where anybody runs away with it. He's going to have his hands full for sure when the green flag drops.
Yeah, he's going to have his hands full, and let me tell you what, a couple drivers that we saw this Tuesday at the Summer Shootout at Charlotte going to be, I think, guys we have to keep an eye on, and gals. Austin Hill, Kenzie Ruston, I know two that ran very well at Loudon. Austin, of course, won at Dover last fall, but then you consider what Ben did last year. Opening lap of this event a year ago, he hit the wall. Where did he finish? He rallies all the way back to finish 5th. So, if you talk to anybody, they've circled Ben as the favorite. And, of course, that qualifying effort he laid down this evening, that proves it.
Well, I think, obviously, at this point, Ben's a favorite at any track he shows up at. But what you said, I think, is exactly right. Austin Hill certainly a driver to keep our eye on. But I'm really going to watch Kenzie Ruston, because Kenzie gets, again, it's a confidence thing, and I think she feels like she's got a good car for this, and Kenzie's about due for a real breakout run, and this is the type of environment where I think she could very well accomplish that this weekend.
Yeah, I think you're right. Kenzie's just been waiting for that run where she could just break out, and all her teammates, so to speak. Of course, she's with Ben Kennedy Racing, but associated with the Turner Scott driver. She drove for him last year. She's been waiting for this kind of breakout run to kind of break out of the shadow of those guys, and I think this is a great track for her. She says she loves this racetrack. She loves how it drives. It suits her very well.
And I'll tell you another driver really to keep your eye on, I think, this weekend would be Jesse Little. I mean, Jesse's a driver that I think has a shot. Again, this is the kind of a track I think his driving style would really favor. This is going to be a really, really exciting race, I think. The Pro Series East has such a good mix of drivers and driving styles in it, and everybody focuses on the Turner Scott cars because it just seems like Ben's been winning everything. And again, you get somebody like Brandon Jones, who we're going to hear from in a moment, who's saying, look, I want a little bit of publicity too, and he finally got some. But I think there's some guys like Jesse Little, like Kenzie Ruston, some other drivers who are really going to shine on this track and have a good shot at unseating Ben and stopping that streak.
All right, so let's just make it clear. Let's lay down the numbers. 128.580 miles per hour, 29.622 seconds was the pole lap for Ben Rhodes in qualifying. It's his 5th pole of the season. He'll look to convert it to win number 6 tomorrow. But what we've also got is a driver who got career win number 1 over the weekend, but not in the K&M Pro Series East. He took his Turner Scott Motorsports Chevrolet out to Winchester, Indiana, the high banked half mile up there. And Brandon Jones, in his ARCA Racing Series debut, drives all the way to victory lane, uses lessons learned from Ken Schrader to bump and run Mason Mitchell on the final corner of the final lap, and he nets, for the second time this season, a rookie nets their first win in their first start. Does it get any better than that?
I can't believe Ken Schrader would teach somebody how to bump and run. Can you? I can't picture Schrader teaching that to a younger driver. Can you? That's like he's such a master I mean, that's Schrader is probably one of the most underrated racers, and I say that in this sense. Everybody knows what a Sterling Cup career, and everybody knows he's good on dirt. But you get Kenny in a short track pavement car. I've watched him here at Oswego Speedway in a modified a couple of times. You want Ken Schrader to teach you how to drive that car, and that's great. And again, for Brandon to go to the ARCA series, never having run an ARCA race at a track like Winchester, which is a scary racetrack to run. It is bad fast for the size. Go pull off a win. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, he was very enthusiastic when we got the chance to talk with him earlier today, so race fans, sit back and relax. We got one more for you. Brandon Jones, after his Winchester victory in the ARCA Series, and he's got a lot to say about his teammate Ben Rhodes. He's not ready to let this one go just yet. This weekend, he wants a shot at victory lane at Loudon. Jacob Seelman for Speed 77 Radio and RaceChaserOnline.com, sitting down for tonight's Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports show with Turner Scott Motorsports driver in the K&N Pro Series East and recent winner for the team in the ARCA Racing Series, Brandon Jones. Brandon, I know you're fresh off a big win at Winchester, and thank you for taking some time to come back on the show with us. Let's talk about that win first, because as they always say, it doesn't matter how many laps you lead, just that you lead the one that pays all the money, and you did that in the ARCA trip to Winchester over the weekend, pick up your win in your debut start in the ARCA series and become the second driver to do that this season. But how big was that, not just as confidence for you, but as a breakthrough for your team? Because on the K&N side, you guys have fought some struggles this year and come to the ARCA race, and it was just all 8 cylinders firing, and you guys roll ahead of Mason Mitchell and take down a lot of veterans over the weekend to grab the win.
For sure, that was huge for all the guys. I think really big confidence booster, for everyone. Turner Scott Motorsports and all the guys on my 33 team, the K&N series. So pretty cool to pick them on up for the season, and hopefully it'll lead to a few more.
I know you're looking forward to hopefully getting one this weekend at Loudon, getting on the board in the K&N car as well, and a lot of good things going on for you. Talk a little bit about this weekend, because Loudon, one of the biggest tracks that you guys run in the K&N series, and definitely a little bit different driving style than some of the bull rings you guys have run on so far in 2014. What's it going to take to go to victory lane on the flat mile this weekend in New England?
This place is really different. Very line sensitive, I think, and it's kind of hard to tell where you need to be the whole time, honestly, because a lot of different lines work, but there's only one really good one, that gets you that fast time. So really hard to kind of find the balance and happy medium of where you need to be. But I think that's what it's going to take, just being consistent the whole race and not really, just hitting your marks the whole time and not really messing up. So it's probably going to be the biggest key.
I don't want to say you've been overshadowed so much by your teammate Ben Rhodes, because it's all in the stable, but at the same time, you guys in the Turner Scott team have been chasing him all season long. You go to Loudon, a track where you guys have had a little bit of experience before, but obviously, just like Ben is, looking for that first win of the season. But are you guys leaning on him a little bit this weekend as well to maybe figure out a couple of tips here and a trick maybe to one-up him at the end of the weekend?
A little bit. He's definitely been on a roll this past couple of races, and looking like he's got another one figured out here too. But we'll just have to see how everything plays out. I'm sure he'll be really fast in qualifying and in the race as well. So just gonna try to be really consistent and everything go our way for sure.
I know that's what you're hoping, and you've kind of had a little bit of an up and down season, but certainly a huge momentum shift after your win over the weekend. Where do you assess your season, whether it be on the K&N side or what you guys have done in testing and, of course, with the win on the ARCA side? But for you personally, where do you assess where you're at right now in 2014?
I think I'm way far along than I thought I was going to be, honestly. We've been still learning this whole year. We got a new team, and so we've been trying to learn everybody and get used to everything. And everybody does little things different, so everybody's trying to get used to that, I feel. And but I feel like we're way far along than we should be, honestly, which is my experience level. So big positive for all of them, and I can't thank everybody enough for Turner Scott Motorsports for getting me going as quick as we did.
You guys have been quick, and I know over the weekend in the ARCA car, one of the guys you were really following and trying to get some tricks of the trade from during the race was Ken Schrader, and you've worked with a lot of veterans and raced against a lot of veterans this season. Has that helped your learning curve so far in 2014, being able to run against some of the all-time greats in the sport and really be able to pick up some things from them as you've gotten more seat time, more track time this year?
Oh, for sure. Anything you're watching is going to help you. So sometimes you got the front row seat to watch it too. So he was pretty fast all weekend, and probably caught a few things that he, figured out over the past few years, and I think that may help us a little bit in the next few runs.
And I know you're looking for a front row seat this weekend and maybe use that as a trip to get all the way to victory lane, but I know you can't do it by yourself, Brandon. There's people, sponsors, supporters. Want to let you give some shout-outs. Who makes it happen for Brandon Jones?
For sure. Just got to thank Tri-Step Motorsports, first off, for everything they've done this year, and like I was saying before, how they've gotten us up to speed, and Wolfpack Energy Services for coming on board on the K&N side, and X-Side Batteries for doing all the ARCA and trucks. It's been awesome to have both of those guys on.
Speaking of the trucks, just slide it in real quick. We know you've made a couple of truck starts this season. When are we going to see you back behind the wheel of the truck before the end of this year?
It's looking like Bristol in August is going to be our next one, so looking forward to getting back in that for sure.
He was solid at Bristol last year, and I know looking to get back there. Brandon, appreciate you taking some time to talk with us. Wish you all the best as you tackle the Loudon Flat Mile for the K&N race tomorrow afternoon, and hopefully we'll be talking to you on next week's show, a winner in the K&N series in 2014.
That'd be awesome. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
I'll tell you right now, it's going to be fun to watch him this weekend. Brandon Jones looking to dethrone his teammate Ben Rhodes, and he qualified 7th. And Tom, the guy you said to keep an eye on, Jesse Little, he qualified outside pole.
He did, and I'm telling you, this is Jesse's kind of racetrack. And Jesse is, again, he's due for a win. I just don't, at some point, and I don't know when that point's going to be, but at some point, Ben Rhodes is it's just that little bit is all it's going to take for somebody to step up and knock him off the perch. But right now, everything's going really well, and I'm surely not trying to jinx him, but I know he got the pole, I know he set a track record, but there's some other guys like Jesse. This is a different kind of race than what they're used to running on the short tracks. So this kind of equalizes everything, and I think it'll keep them in a pack and keep them doing a lot of passing.
And we'll see what happens right there. The K&N Pro Series race tomorrow afternoon, immediately following NASCAR Sprint Cup Series qualifying. So it's going to be fun to watch. Live coverage on NASCAR home tracks. And boy, TV coverage going to be July 18th on Fox Sports 1. So if you miss it, you'll get a chance to catch it. Right now, what we're missing is a little bit of business to take care of, and we're going to do that right now. Take a caution flag here on the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show. When we come back, we are going to hear from Small Block Super Series driver Camden Proud and move into the open wheel side of things for just a few minutes and talk super modifieds at Oswego this weekend. The ISMA cars are in town, and boy, that could potentially mean sub 15-second laps. So, fasten your seatbelts. We shift gears and come back right after this. You are listening to Speed 77 Radio, powered by Race Chaser Online. We are your home for motorsports.
For 17 years, Stock Car Steel has been a leading materials supplier to the racing industry. We're proud they're a motorsports content partner here at Race Chaser Online. The biggest names in NASCAR trust Stock Car Steel for raw materials such as carbon steel, chrome moly, DOM, aluminum, plastics, and much more. You can't build a race car without the basic materials, and Stock Car Steel is the place to get them. Don't forget to also visit Stock Car Steel's sister company, SRI Supplies, for racing and industry. SRI is the place to go for all your shop supply needs. Nuts, bolts, rivets, tapes, adhesives, cutting tools, chemicals, body shop supplies, paint shop supplies, lubricants, and more. A well-stocked race shop is a winning race shop, and the path to winning begins with 3 letters, SRI. For more information, visit stockcarsteel.com or SRI-supplies.com. Check them both out on Facebook or call them toll-free at 1-888-752-7272, 1-888-752-7272.
Steven, do you like dirt modifieds and sprint cars? I sure do, Clint, but I like full fenders and late models, too. Whoa. What about the super modifieds up at the Steel Palace? You can find all of those and more with driver interviews on the Turn 5 Racing Podcast, released weekly on YouTube.com, Podbean.com, and on iTunes. You can also find us on Facebook and Twitter at Turn 5 Podcast. Turn 5 is a proud partner of Race Chaser Online and Speed 77 Radio. Search Turn 5 Racing Podcast.
Before he was a champion, he was just a kid named Brad, desperate to prove himself on the nationwide circuit.
All clear.
He had to risk everything to win.
Not so easy for Keselowski.
He had to earn his spot at the top. And every year, a new crop of drivers is eager to do the same. Because if they want to make their name, they'll have to do it here. This is the Nationwide Series.
I'm Jacob Seelman.
And I'm Tom Baker.
You're listening to Speed 77 Radio,
Powered by Race Chaser Online.
We are your home for motorsports. Welcome back to the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show, live tonight from the Office Tavern in Oswego, New York. Jacob Seelman alongside Tom Baker here at tonight's round table, and quite a solid table it is. And Tom, I tell you right now,
well, tables are, Jacob. It's pretty solid stuff they make these things out of these days.
Well, I know, but we haven't had a real table until tonight. Well, this is fun.
You're not supposed to give all the secrets away.
All right, let's just move on right here. Want to hit a point right here. The K&N Pro Series West in action this weekend in Idaho, State Line Speedway, a little quarter-mile bull ring. And, of course, when we talk about the K&N Pro Series West all season, we've been talking about Greg Pursley, Dylan Lupton, those two basically the leaders in the championship battle for 2014. Gene Price versus Bob Brancati back again. And I'll tell you, for a second-year driver, Dylan Lupton's really impressed me. He got his first series win last year at Evergreen Speedway, just at the height of the summer, and this year, he's not won yet, but he's coming. And I'll tell you, I'm waiting for the breakthrough, because as soon as Dylan gets that first win in 2014, I think it's going to be a whole lot more following.
Yeah, again, it's just momentum, and Dylan really is he's a terrific racer, and you and I had a chance to sit down and have lunch with him just as he finished. Of course, he goes to UNC Charlotte, attends school there, and you and I had a chance to have lunch with him before he actually went back to California after he finished up the college semester. Just an outstanding young man, very classy young kid, and he's due. He is long due to win a race, but I got to tell you, you take 15 or 16 K&N Pro Series West cars and you put them on a quarter-mile bull ring in Idaho, you know what you got?
What you got?
A recipe for mashed potatoes. That's what you got. Good old-fashioned Idaho Redskin mashed potatoes. That's what you got right there. There is definitely going to be some carnage in that one, I suspect.
Yeah, I suspect some sheet metals and potatoes are going to get mashed on Saturday night. Boy, oh boy, how did we go from racing to potatoes just that quickly?
It's Idaho, man. It's what it's about. Idaho is the potato state. So, you always talk about a big wreck. Well, it's going to be mashed potatoes. That's how it works. It should be a great race, though. I mean, all kidding aside, the level of competition, despite necessarily the lack of quantity, there's a lot of competition throughout the field there.
Yeah, there is. And on that note, I vote we switch gears again and go to the open wheel side of things.
Okay, come to Oswego, New York, where we're on the lake here, so we're talking about fish is what Oswego, New York's all about. Office Tavern has some great fish dinners. If anybody's in the area want to stop by and say hi, come on out and get an autograph from Camden Proud and say hi to Jacob and I and listen to the rest of the show here. But Small Block Supers in action, but we've also got the ISMA and the MSA Supers in town for the King of Wings. Otto Sidderly going to be teaming with DJ Schulich in the two Bodner cars, and Otto, I think, for the first time, might actually have a winged car that he can run up front and win the race with in the King of Wings this weekend.
Oh my, here we go. Otto Sitterly, Fire and Ice, Tom Baker, I think you have sold me a little bit of a storyline here. I like that, and I'll keep an eye on that. I'm also keeping an eye on the track record, which is now sub 15 seconds. I'm having a sneaking suspicion that that could maybe be in jeopardy. I know of a few cars that I would look at. I believe Mr. Schulich has that track record currently right now at 14,972.
Yeah, and that equates to basically right on the nose at 150 mile an hour average speed on a 5/8 mile track. That is cooking.
Yes, it is cooking, and that's not the only thing that's cooking at Oswego Speedway this weekend. Besides the food down in the concession stands, we're going to have a small block super race this weekend as well. And boy, to do that, we've got to have a lot of contenders, and what we've got is a Rookie of the Year contender sitting right here next to us tonight. Camden Proud joining us for tonight's edition of the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show. And Camden, I tell you what, you've not gone to victory lane yet this season. Your protege, Anthony Lacerdo, did get to victory lane. You almost got there. You were going for it the night he won, and it just didn't quite pan out. But you're learning. This is a big learning curve for you in 2014. What have you gotten out of these first couple races this season? Because it looks like you've just showed steady growth all the way through.
Thank you. Yeah, these first few races have been crazy, especially the first two. We ended up on the trailer, and it was a mess, and that's not what you want to do your first season going into it. But the last 4 or 5 have been pretty great. I finished my first race in 12th, and the key is just missing the wrecks. And as a driver, I think all of us know that you can almost guarantee a first lap pileup, unfortunately, but that's how it is, and I'm working on the passing, and that's huge as well. So it's tough when you don't get your top 4 in the heat, and you got to come back from 19th or 20th, and that's what I've been doing these past few weeks and picking up the Hard Charger Award. So it's been good, and I was very pleased with the podium as well. I was shocked at that.
Okay, Tom, he talked right there about having to come from 19th and 20th, and also talked about first lap pileups. I remember one Andrew Schartner a couple weeks ago on this show was telling us about first lap pileups, and usually he's the one that gets through them.
Well, and again, that's situational. This is a year for Andrew where, much like Ben Rhodes, so far anyway, and Andrew always will want to knock wood, the momentum has gone his way, and he's been able to find his way through. But the one thing about Camden that's impressed me the most is how you've come back and rebounded from the first couple of weeks. You didn't lose confidence. You didn't lose faith in yourself. And for being so young, just 15 years old, and the only experience you've had prior to this is a quarter midget, so you're getting out of a quarter midget car into a full-size open-wheel, open-cockpit car with about 500 horsepower underneath you. That's quite a change. Talk about kind of the whole first 5 or 6 weeks and the growth in learning how to drive the car.
Yeah, it was a big change, and like you said, confidence is a big thing. If you don't have the confidence, there's no sense in being out there. And for me, the biggest thing was just balancing where to let on and off, and just rolling out of the throttle and rolling into the throttle, and that makes everything go a lot smoother. And the other thing I'm really working on is passing, like I mentioned, and I got to learn to give a little more space between myself and the car in front of me coming out of turn 2 especially. That way I have more time to get on the gas and make a run going down the straightaway instead of into 3. And that dive bomb stuff, that's tough sometimes, and I don't want to be that guy that does it and causes a big
That's
pileup.
hard at Oswego, too. Dive bombing a corner is never a great idea, but at Oswego, where you've got the inside hub rails, basically the corners are blind going, and you can't see coming out, really, right? So dive bombing's even harder there and even riskier than it is at some tracks where you don't have the inside wall.
Right, and that was something to get used to, too, was having the inside wall. And the quarter midgets, you could just look right across the track and, see how close you were to somebody and look ahead more for the wrecks. But this is tough, you've got the haulers in the pits and everything blocking your view, and you can't see anything until, you're pretty much in it. So split-second reaction time, and that's the difference between a wreck car and a top 5.
I want to talk about the event that you almost won a couple weeks ago, the event that Anthony did go to victory lane in, because you and he were in the thick of it all the way to the end. I think Danny Kapusinski, for those who don't know, the Oswego Speedway PR person, coined it the Battle of the Bucks there after you two got done. You and he were battling for it in the last couple of laps, and I think you chalked it up to inexperience right after that one. You came so close. I think still finished third on the night. And talk about that run there to the end, because you were almost got there.
Yeah, really, it was close. I didn't even know if I wanted to start up there at first, and I thought I was just going to drop back, and I just wanted to be careful and give room to everybody and race clean, and you don't want to start a big mess when you're up there on the pole for your first time. And the car was great, it was sticking, and lap 20 or so, the motor, it was breaking up out of two, and I had never really had it break up that bad, but it was handling very well the whole night, and once the motor started to go, I knew somebody was going to get me. And when I saw the one coming up through, I knew that I could trust, what was behind me, because Anthony is one of the cleanest drivers out there, and he respects equipment and he respects his other drivers like I try to do. And I knew he'd run me clean, and he made the move going into turn 3, and I stuck right with him. And on the last lap, I just went for it and pushed way too hard and got sideways off a 4. But I don't know, I lost a spot, and I was asked this question in victory lane if I regretted it or not, but I don't regret it, because I would have rather went for it than just, followed the leader and settled for second. So I'll take a third, and that was great.
We should clarify, just for those who are wondering, where the Bucks connection comes from. Oswego High School's nickname is the Buccaneers, and of course Camden and Anthony, both students at Oswego High, which is really cool for you guys. I mean, this is for those who don't know Oswego, this always has been a racing town, and of course in this day and age, a lot more things for young kids to do, but it's really cool to have two of the students from Oswego High being able to race and be competitive for wins at the Speedway now, because again, it excites the student base. And now are you seeing an uptick after that race, Camden, of your friends and Anthony's friends, and they coming out to watch you now that they see that you guys actually can get the job done?
Yeah, there kind of is. We had a bunch of friends from school. Well, my friends ordered a bunch of shirts from me, and we have friends that come out every week, and Anthony and I go down and watch the race replay and hang out at Lighthouse together afterwards. And, come on up, guys. It's a great time. And, what else could you do on Saturday night except sit in and play video games or go to the races? It's a lot more fun.
See, he's learning, and he knows how we roll here on the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show. If we're not at a race, we're trying to find a race to go to. But, Cam, I tell you, it's a lot of things that you guys are trying to do this year, and I know you can't do it by yourself. There's sponsors, supporters, stickers on the car that help make it happen, and we always want to give you a chance to shout out to them. Who makes it happen for Camden Proud?
Absolutely, as always, first off, my dad. I'm not there with him tonight in the garage, and I can't always be there with him, and he just busts his butt every week, no matter what, just going through everything, making sure it's perfect. My Uncle Marty as well, Marty Beckwith, he's up there pretty much every night of the week, too, and making sure everything's perfect for me, going through every nut and bolt, and they pretty much hit the setup on the car every week, and it's been awesome. And my sponsors, Step One Creative is my main sponsor. They're a marketing firm right down the street from us here in Oswego, and they've hooked us up with it's our big primary sponsor this year, and we got the t-shirts here, the Step One t-shirts that I gave you guys, and I'm wearing it for the first time tonight, and they're going to be on sale for us on our website and at the track for $15 with the Step One logo on the back, so that's pretty awesome. So thanks to Shane, Mark, Shelby, and Mallory. Thanks to Ken's Body Shop and Oswego Quality Carpet. They're two of our longtime sponsors that have come back. Beacon Hotel and All Seasons Inn, they were with us last year, and they also came back this year. GJP Italian Eatery in Oswego. Their wings are awesome. We enjoy them every week in the pit, so try them out if you haven't yet. Budget Signs, who hooked us up with all the graphics on the car. Express Auto Care here in Oswego, who hooked us up with the oil for the car this season. Compass Credit Union, and two of our newest sponsors, CNY Shirts and the Hot Shop, and they hooked us up, obviously, with the brand new Proud Motorsports shirts here, so they did an awesome job.
I tell you, Tom, he's learning real quick our two favorite subjects, racing and food.
It's nice to kind of get... I feel sort of like I went to the inside movie premiere here because we got the new shirts before they actually went on sale. So, that's one of the things that, race car drivers, if y'all want to know what's one of the things that's so cool about being in the media, you get free swag from the teams. And, we always take bribes. There's no question about it. We don't even hide it. So we appreciate those T-shirts and those sharp-looking shirts too. But one of the things I want to ask Cam about is, okay, so you're in the small block division. This is your first year. Now, I'm sure like every other driver, you probably at least have some ambitions of NASCAR or IndyCar, one of the big series. But I know you're going to be paying a whole lot of attention to those things with wings that are running with you this weekend. What would be your timetable, do you think, for maybe possibly, assuming that the resources or the opportunity were there, stepping into a full-size super modified at Oswego Speedway?
That's just all based on my progress this season still. I'd like to get a few more top fives, and I came so close to a win, so I'm really hungry for one. And, you can't be greedy. You got to be patient out there. But like I said, we'll see how this season goes and see what opportunities come along. But that's definitely the next step I would like to take is a super modified. That's my dream beyond my dream, and to be able to do that would be absolutely awesome. So, we'll keep working this season and maybe still run the small block next season. But like I said, it just all depends on what opportunities come along for me. So that'd be great for sure.
So cool too. Oswego this year, it's so fortunate for the fans, and I hope they really appreciate this. When I was growing up in Oswego, you didn't see very many 17, 18, 19, 20-year-old kids racing there. Now, they start as young as 15 in the small block series, and of course even younger than that in the kart races out back at the Oswego Cartway tomorrow night. Cartway will be in action. You and I will be on the mic for that again. But just from the standpoint of the youth movement, I think it is the coolest thing to see somebody like Camden. He's got the shirts. He's got the cards. He's really doing a good job with the social media. I mean, it's great to see him and Anthony and, guys like that in the small block division that are able to compete for wins, because the next step, logically, of course, is the super modifieds. The small blocks have already fed several drivers up into the supers who have won races and won classics and won championships. Andrew Schartner on the verge of it, guaranteed starting spot in this year's classic because he was the points leader as of July the 1st. And so now Camden has a chance to actually believe that he can make that step too. I think it's been great, and it's going to be a fun race to watch this weekend with the small blocks as well as the King of Wings.
It's going to be so much fun to watch on both counts. The small blocks, the winged cars, the King of Wings 6, and we're waiting to see who will be crowned king for 2014. Mike Lichty's been crowned twice. Charlie Schultz was the inaugural king, and of course, who can forget 2 years ago when Dave Gruhl went to Victory Lane in the Sweet 16. I'll tell you, that was a night I don't think either you or I, Tom, will ever forget.
Oh, no, and you were here to see it in person. I actually wasn't able to be, and was keeping an eye on social media that night, and I honestly jumped right out of my chair when I found out that Steve Miller had finally, after so many years as a car owner, he had just come into Oswego when I started going in 72, 73, and so he had been a car owner all that time and never had a feature win. He got one in this race with David Gruhl a couple of years ago. And Steve is going to be a part of our old timers reunion on Saturday morning, and that's going to be a whole lot of fun. We were all sitting around before the show started talking about that, and a lot of the drivers that were my heroes as a 5 or 6 year old growing up at the Fast 5/8 of a mile here and going to the races. You and I are going to get a chance to talk to them, and Todd Gibson is going to be on hand, Freddie Graves, and a lot of these drivers. Freddie being one of them, actually factored in to NASCAR country or IndyCar country, one or another. Todd Gibson ran IndyCars for a while and ran USAC for a while. Freddie Graves, a crew chief in NASCAR for a while. So, lots of stuff, lots of different drivers involved. And so it's going to be a lot of fun to see all the guys again, and of course, coming from all parts, Michigan and up from the south and everywhere.
Yeah, so true it is. And I'll tell you right now, guys like Wayne Landon, Norm Macareth, I keep hoping that one day Bentley was at the first one. We hope he's going to get back here eventually.
He's not old enough yet. He's only 73.
All right, Tom. You know what? Bentley's still racing. We'll give him that.
That's right.
But, Cam, I tell you right now, it's been a pleasure having you on tonight. Appreciate you coming out with us. And I know here after this show's over, we're going to grab some chow. We've been talking about it the last 20 minutes. But wish you all the best this weekend. Of course, we'll be on hand to cover it. And maybe we'll be talking about a win by the end of it. Who knows?
I hope so. I appreciate it.
We're not quite done. We're going to take a break here on the Stock Car Style SRI Motorsports Show, and I guess we're going to roll to conclusion right after this, but we got one more segment, so stay with us. You are listening to Speed 77 Radio, powered by Race Chaser Online, and after this business, we roll the Stock Car Style SRI Motorsports Show to conclusion. We'll be right back.
For 17 years, Stock Car Steel has been a leading material supplier to the racing industry. We're proud they're a motorsports content partner here at Race Chaser Online. The biggest names in NASCAR trust Stock Car Steel for raw materials such as carbon steel, chrome moly, DOM, aluminum, plastics, and much more. You can't build a race car without the basic materials, and Stock Car Steel is the place to get them. Don't forget to also visit Stock Car Steel's sister company, SRI Supplies, for racing and industry. SRI is the place to go for all your shop supply needs. Nuts, bolts, rivets, tapes, adhesives, cutting tools, chemicals, body shop supplies, paint shop supplies, lubricants, and more. A well-stocked race shop is a winning race shop, and the path to winning begins with 3 letters, SRI. For more information, visit stockcarsteel.com or SRI-supplies.com. Check them both out on Facebook or call them toll-free at 1-888-752-7272, 1-888-752-7272.
Millions of fans, one family. It takes truly unlimited data to feed a family this large.
I'm Jacob Seelman.
And I'm Tom Baker.
You're listening to Speed 77 Radio,
Powered by Race Chaser Online.
We are your home for motorsports.
Welcome back to the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show, live on location tonight at the Office Tavern in Oswego, New York. Jacob Seelman and Tom Baker around tonight's round table. And Tom, I tell you, before we wrap up this show tonight, a couple of big events still yet to come this month, and one that's creeping up very, very, very soon, actually. This Saturday night, the Pass South Super Late Models in action at the Southern National Motorsports Park, and coming up the following week, the North guys in action for the biggest one of them all, the Oxford 250.
Yeah, the Oxford 250, it basically is one of the signature races, and maybe the signature race for the Northern Super Late Model set. And that race has been around for so many years, and some of the greatest drivers to ever sit in a race car have run that event. And we will have Kyle Souza, boots on the ground, covering it for us for Race Chaser Online and Speed 77 Radio. So really excited about that. And yeah, both of those races should just be outstanding shows.
I think we're going to have Kyle back Monday night on the Madness, too,
yes.
Aren't we?
Yes. Yeah, Kyle's been on a bit of a break to do some other things this summer, but looking forward to having Kyle back with us so the New England racing fans can get all of the straight scoop from the region on Race Chaser Online and Speed 77 Radio again going forward. And Al Souza makes his grand return here this coming week.
Good. I'm looking forward to it, Tom, and I'll tell you right now, it's been a fun show, and I guess we are just about done here. But I'll tell you, one more series to keep an eye on this weekend, Saturday, Gresham Motorsports Park for the Southern Super Series. Bubba Pollard, the points leader. But I'll tell you right now, Anderson Bowen only 19 points back. That's a young man who I got the chance to talk to a couple of months ago when I was down at Montgomery Motor Speedway in Alabama. He's got a lot to prove, a lot coming. He's run some ARCA races races, some K&N East races this season. He's been so consistent in the Southern Super Series. Looking for a win. I think it could very well come this weekend because I'll tell you, this is a young man that needs a breakthrough.
Well, he does. And again, this is going to be a track where you can do a lot of passing. Yeah, you're right. This could be the type of racetrack where Anderson is able to finally get that win. I got to tell you, the competition, again, you need drivers like Hunter Nemechek, Bubba Pollard, Daniel Hemrick when he goes and races there. There are just some amazingly good competitors in this series. It's one of the most competitive late model series in the entire country. So anytime you put all of those drivers on the racetrack together, basically you can it's almost like a plate race in NASCAR Cup. You can draw a name out of a hat and they have a chance to win. So, but yeah, it would be great to see Anderson get a win. He's a very, very, very talented young racer.
Yeah, he is, and I'll tell you, it's going to be exciting to watch this weekend. We got so much going on. We've got Oswego, we've got the Southern Super Series, we've got Pass South, we've got K&N, we've got Whelen Modified Tour. There's just about everything. We've got the K&N West Series in action. Could you ask for any more as a regional race fan this weekend? I couldn't.
No, I mean it is a buffet for sure, and a lot of stuff on TV to watch, some other stuff on the internet to keep track of. So definitely going to be a feast. We are headlong into the thick of the summer racing season now, and so almost every weekend is a major weekend with a lot of regional divisions in action from here on right straight through past Labor Day at this point.
Yeah, and Labor Day gets fun because I get to go with sprint cars to Atlanta, so I'm eagerly looking forward to next month.
That's right. And of course, not only will we have full coverage of all of those shows next week on this show on next Thursday night, but we'll also have the Motorsports Madness show, of course, returning tonight, and coverage there as well from around the globe, including IndyCars, F1, and all of that on Monday night.
Yeah, we will. And I'll tell you, Tom, usually we end the show with a lightning round, but we've pretty much hit everything tonight. So what I want to turn to you for is your final thoughts tonight. What are we looking at for this weekend? Obviously we know what we're here for, but what else are you excited about this weekend?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I'm excited about all the racing that's going on at Loudon because the K&N Pro E Series, we've talked about this a lot this year. So many talented young racers all in the same series. I mean, there are any number of these kids who could compete very nicely in the Nationwide Series, in the Truck Series, and I'm sure that a number of them within the next 2 to 3 years are going to be knocking on the door of the Cup Series. I think Ben Rhodes will be there in the next couple of years, but certainly a few of these kids quite nicely for Cup. So I'm looking forward to that race, and of course the Modifieds always put on a show at Loudon. I can't even imagine. I mean, the longer shows are competitive and exciting enough. I can't imagine what's going to happen when you cut the distance to 40 laps and have 2 20-lap shootouts. I mean, that is just going to be amazing to watch. So hopefully everybody's safe there at Loudon, and of course the Cup race as well. Should be just a great weekend up there in New England.
Yeah, it really should be. I'll tell you, I'm so looking forward to it.
And one other thing that we should mention, Seekonk's got a big modified race coming up as well, and they've got 34 of them entered right now for that show. It is going to be, if you've never been to Seekonk, it is a tight third-mile track. It is basically a bowl, and I can't even imagine what the modifieds are going to be like for that show. That should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it should be, and Kyle would thank you for shouting out to Seekonk, too. I'll tell you right now, if we can get it back and have a classic show at the Office Tavern like you've been talking about all night, Tom, it's going to be so much fun. Thank you to Jeff Holbrook and all the staff at the Office Tavern for having us tonight. And if you've come out to hear us, we're glad you came out to hear us and hope you'll order some food. We're getting ready to do just that and chill out here tonight after we've had an incredible day of motorsports news. Race fans, for more motorsports news from all across the globe, visit racechaseronline.com for all the latest from Tom, myself, Kyle, Joel, and our entire staff of Motorsports Insiders, or sometimes, I guess, Motorsports Lunatics, whatever you like to call them. But I'll tell you right now, special thanks to Brandon Jones, Ryan Preece, and Camden Proud for joining us tonight. It's been a great show. We're excited, and Right now, for all of us here at Speed 77 Radio and RaceChaserOnline.com, I'm Jacob Seelman, reminding all you race fans to check out StockCarsSteel.com and SRI-Supplies.com for all your scrap metal and shop supply needs. And until Monday night, for Motorsports Madness at 7 p.m. Eastern, this is Jacob Seelman reminding you to keep it off the wall until we meet again. Race fans, if you're going to be in the area this weekend, we'll see you at the racetrack. We're going to go eat. All of you, have a great night. Be safe. So long, everybody.